Hey everyone, it's Abby. Hope you guys are doing well today. We have another story from our what's becoming infamous Pam and Bruce um, and their little adventures in smoking fetish. So today's title is Nurse Victoria, and you will soon see why. So sit back, smoke them if you got them, grab your cup of coffee, glass of wine, whatever you enjoy, and we'll get into it. So here we go. It says, Dear Abby, I am a nurse in a large hospital. I normally work in the OR, but with the Cove, I am assigned to a ward now. I appreciated I Fly 2 comments on the fingernails. I had gel nails and loved them before I went into nursing. But as you know, as an OR nurse, they are not allowed. I'm allowed to paint my nails, and I like bright red. I love my heels. I have many 4-inch pairs and one pair of 5-inch, but on the ward, only 2-inch heels are allowed. The 5-inch heels have never been out of the bedroom. What I don't have yet is a pair of 4-inch boots. I'm getting better with my snap inhales. The French inhales work only inside the house where there's too much wind outside. I have perfected my nose exhales, and he says they look very sexy. 2 nights ago, I had a bit of a head cold and didn't want to smoke. I found that if I just dangled my cigarette between my lips and pretended to smoke, that I can get him very excited. The leather cigarette case arrived by Amazon just after New Year's. It is black and made for 120s. Its leather is also very soft. Man part soft. Sorry, guys. YouTube. Blame YouTube. I have no more of the Misty Light 120s left. I am now a Virginia Slim 120 lady. My boyfriend Bruce has been very attentive these last weeks now that I started smoking. He has been a big help here in this large house as I have been doing many double shifts. He has washed the floors, washed clothes, and painted a room. My Aunt Victoria, who I inherited this house from, was also a nurse. My mother would only say that my aunt was notorious. In a trunk, I found her nurse's uniform from the 1950s when she started nursing. I used it for Halloween 3 years ago. As a reward for all the extra work he has done, I thought it would be nice to dress in my aunt's old uniform and give him a Smoky sponge bath Sunday afternoon. Her uniform has stockings held up with a garter belt. You can just see the outline of the garter belt under the skirt. The skirt fits a bit too tight, but that just accentuates the garter belt clips. I do like stockings and garter belts more than pantyhose. She also had one of those Jane Mansfield bullet brassieres. My Aunt Victoria was just a bit bigger in the bust than I am, but a little padding filled it out. The nurse hat looks very smart, and I love the cape. I will use my own white 4-inch heel shoes to complete the look. Before I got dressed in my aunt's nursing uniform, I told Bruce to get undressed on the bed, and I would be in with his surprise in a few minutes. I put on the 1950s nurse's uniform with her name tag, Victoria, and her lapel fob watch that is worn upside down. My 4-inch heels sounded very sexy on the hardwood floor as I walked down the hall to the room where my patient was waiting. I opened the door to the bedroom, an unlit cigarette dangling from my red-painted lips, and a wash basin of warm soapy water in one hand, a few towels and sponges in the other. I'm getting very good at dangling my cigarette if I hold it in my teeth. In as clinical and professional a voice as I could with a cigarette dangling out of my mouth, I informed him that it was time for his sponge bath. Not did he want a sponge bath, but it was time. I said that I was running behind and had not had a smoke break in an hour or so, and I really needed a cigarette. If he did not mind, I would have a smoke during his sponge bath. He was surprisingly okay with that. All right, guys. Gotta pause there for a minute. Coffee and another one. Pam is getting into this, isn't she? Pam. You could write a small Harlequin romance novel with all this. You know that, right? Okay. Here we go. Back to it. I did a hands-free light up that you, Abby, would have been proud of. Good job. With my eyes half closed, I did a double drag and a very slow, tight exhale that went almost across the room. I smiled the look of satisfaction of a lady that really needed this cigarette. I snapped the rubber gloves on. I can, of course, put latex gloves on very quickly, but I fussed and pulled them on like I was having trouble. The freshly lit long white cigarette dangling from my red lips completed the look. Just the sound of the snapping gloves always has an effect, but of course to a man with a smoking fetish, well, results were very quick. He saw me look at my lapel watch fob and mention the time in a voice like, "Let's get this over." I told him to please roll over onto his stomach if he could, and he would get started, and we would get started, and he had some difficulty. I took my time smoking and washed his back and legs very slowly. Of course, he could not see me smoking, so I made sure he could hear the pop of my inhales. I exhaled on him and let him know when I had to stop to ash. He has such a cute bum. At some point, we're going to have to talk about pegging. Ooh. When I was done, his back, legs, and bum, I told him, roll over and keep his arms by his side. He saw me crush out my first cigarette in the ashtray we now keep in the bedroom. Then I asked him when was his last bowel movement. Hint, if you ever get asked that by a nurse, never say 24 hours or worse. Say you don't remember. Then I informed him as I lifted up my second cigarette of all the health benefits of a large, warm enema. As I dangled my fresh cigarette, I then reached for his manhood. He is at present uncut, and I rolled back with both hands his foreskin. Don't know if I'm allowed to say that or not, but just did. In my persona as the nurse, I informed him of the benefits of circumcision and that his girlfriend or wife would, I'm sure, appreciate a clean-cut manhood. I informed him of the reasons to keep it clean and to reduce the cheesy smell of smegma or worse, phimosis. Remember, it's 1950, and so I said men that are circumcised have less risk of sexually transmitted infections. You would not want to give your wife or girlfriend a disease, would you? I held my left arm under my bullet bra and supported my right arm at the elbow, holding my cigarette. I took a full drag on my cigarette, exhaled, and repeated the words, "Would you?" He shook his head. He was too excited to speak and could not get a word out. I had reached on my tray for a small soft brush about the size of a toothbrush to clean around the head of his glands. I like to use the correct clinical words. When he saw the brush, latex gloves, and cigarette dangling from my red lips, it was too much. I believe this is called a ruined orgasm. The amount was huge and it went everywhere. I pretended to be very shocked and disgusted at this filthy display, and I told him his lack of control was very upsetting. I crushed out my half-smoked cigarette, looked at my watch, mumbled the time, and walked out. I let him stew in his own juices, so to speak. I came back a few minutes later to wash him down. I was a bit disappointed until I remembered what a girlfriend once told me. Get the easy one out of the way early, and then you can take your time and he will last longer with the next one. He did. It was great. I think the next weekend will be set aside for manscaping. Victoria, the Smoky nurse, will have to make a return with some shaving cream and a straight razor. I can see this smoking fetish will just be loads and loads of fun. Pam. Well, Pam, whew. That I can say, yeah, loads and loads of fun. Not really much else you can say, really. Sounds like you hit the ground running with it and are enjoying every minute of it, as well as sure sounds like Bruce is enjoying it as well. So congratulations, and that's great for both of you. Thank you so much for her writing in again and sharing your Nurse Victoria story with us. Yeah, wow. Really, you need to like write a book. Because if you don't, I just might. Um, anyway, glad you're having fun with it and keep enjoying it. Keep the spice in the relationship. I guess we could all take a page from your book here and keep spice up things in our relationships as well. And that's all I've got for you guys today. I don't know what else to say. That's pretty steamy stuff. So anyway, in closing, I will say, like I usually do, don't forget to like, subscribe, share, keep our community growing. Don't forget to check out the channel memberships if you haven't already. And we shall see you guys real soon. Bye.